I caught the Real Madrid Osasuna game at 5 a.m., which is a privilege because we only get night games in Europe, from Europe in Australia, in Sydney, because all the midday games in Europe will happen at like 12 a.m., 1 a.m. And if you're not a fan of those clubs, there's no reason to watch as a neutral. So obviously, I don't support Real Madrid or Osasuna, so I'm a neutral here. Um, but yeah, because it was at 5 a.m. and it's a top five league clash, right? I'm just gonna watch it. And I found this game enlightening because initially when I saw Xabi Alonso replace Carlo Ancelotti, his appointment, I thought Real Madrid are going to play a way more pragmatic um, style of football. Very progressive, very positive, um, not passive, which was the complete reality in this game today. It was a completely passive game from Real Madrid. Um, you could tell because if we go to the stats here, in the first half, yeah, I already have it up here. 80% possession for Real Madrid, 3 shots on target. Two of those shots on target were from the centre backs. One from Militao, one from Housen, which is absolutely absurd, right? Your main players, your Vini, your Mbappes, they're not they're not producing, they're not shooting, and shooting is how you're going to score goals. But these guys are obviously obsessed with trying to showboat and dribble, and you could tell with Mbappe as well how he was kept on demanding the ball, and he was dropping back so deep at times. I remember he dropped even deeper than Trent once to get the ball from Trent himself. And especially Mbappe, when you're playing in a striker position, you got to be crashing into the box. You got to be trying to go in the box because your job as a striker is to score, right? Obviously, you have different types of strikers, like a false nine, a poacher, you know, um, a target man. But like Mbappe has been given so much freedom from Xabi Alonso to play that free roam position where he just roams around the edge of the box. He doesn't actually go inside the box. Um, so yeah, I found that disappointing in Mbappe's game, and I think that's been common, and we have known this for a while that Mbappe is a winger, not a striker. Um, Obviously, Mbappe played well. He won a penalty and converted the penalty. Um, so I think Footmob here has him as the man of the match, which I think is absurd. I think Housen was by far and away the best player on the pitch today. His composure at such a young age in a centre back role as well, which does require a lot of composure. Centre backs, they dictate the play as well from the back. But yeah, his composure, his presence of mind, and his ability to just pass the ball like so easily and relaxed, it's a skill. And yeah, I think he was the man of the match. And I think Mbappe's 9.0 is just only heightened because he did like that one really cool skill. I'll give it to him. I'm sounding like an Mbappe hater right now, but like he did this like really cool roulette through two players, and then he did like a Keta pass one, and then he did some like weird backheel pass to Trent. That was good. His dribbles were good. You could tell that he was on a different level compared to the Osasuna team, which is expected, right? Mbappe is one of the best players in the world. But yeah, I felt like he could have been trying to fulfill his striker roles a bit more instead of just hovering at the edge of the box and trying to produce something by dribbling. Leave that to Vinny, right? Vinny can try and do that, but Vinny didn't have the best of games. I thought Diaz is the lowest rated for Real Madrid. I completely agree with that. I think Diaz, he didn't really even play as a right wing. We'll talk about the formations and stuff a bit later, but like, he didn't even play as a right wing. I didn't think you even noticed a right wing presence. I felt like the right wing presence was Mbappe because Diaz was kind of flitting in that cam spot, trying to offload the ball to Trent to cross in from the right. But in general, the first half, that 80% possession, it's a fluke, right? Because Osasuna are going to play deep. They're going to sit deep. They're going to go in a low block. They want a point away from home, especially against Real Madrid. They're not expecting to win, but they want a draw, right? And maybe they can nick a win, if they go on the counter attack. So yeah, Osasuna played their game plan perfectly in the first half. They dropped into 5 in the back. The two wing backs, Bretonis and Rosier, were very critical. to their game plan, obviously, because they would go up as well a bit if they had the attack. But Osasuna's attacks weren't really meaningful. They were meaningless because they didn't have many players up. They were just anticipating the next Real Madrid attack in the first half. In the second half, it changed because Mbappe started to be a little bit more direct, a little bit more aggressive in terms of his runs were going towards the box. And Osasuna, like, they didn't get into that low block at the start. They just kind of opened up a bit, and that allowed the completely stupid tackle from Cruz here, Juan Cruz. He did this rash slide tackle, which obviously is going to give you Mbappe is going to fall down. It was 100% a deserved penalty. There's no arguments against that. So yeah, that was a really dumb challenge from Cruz, and that cost Osasuna the game, thanks to him. But yeah, we can't be too critical. I think Osasuna, they executed their game plan pretty much perfectly. The penalty did open up the game because Osasuna was trying to chase us for a goal, but they were trying to keep defensive at the same time. And you saw that as well because Boyoma, who I thought had an excellent game today, one of the best Osasuna players on the pitch, one of the best players on the pitch as well in general. He was bombing up the field as a centre back, and he was kind of in that right wing position, So they were trying to definitely go for a goal, Osasuna, and I did find Osasuna's formation and the way they shifted far more interesting than Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid were kind of constant. Everyone stayed in the same position. Mbappe had that free roam role, and Diaz just shifted a bit back. So yeah, not much else to really say. I do think Real Madrid were played poor. They were completely lackluster in terms of their attack, and I do think that's going to have to improve in the future. So we'll quickly go here to Real Madrid's team here. So at the start of the game, you have these four. It's standard. Nothing really happened. I mean, obviously Carreras was making pretty good runs up front, but they were a little bit more attacking minded, right? Naturally, Trent is an attacking minded fullback. I think Carreras came from Benfica. He's also somewhat attacking minded. And then you have these three midfielders. Their positions interchange, they intertwine. I think Arda was more on the right side, but yeah, they just work together as a unit pretty much. And these three were exceptional today. I thought Tchouaméni was really good today, really solid. He was all over the pitch. He was making runs in the box. Arda was making runs in the box, but these forwards weren't. And I do think the front three let Real Madrid down more than anything. Diaz was kind of playing as a right attacking mid. Like I said before, he was trying to offload the ball to Trent. So Diaz gets the ball here, he offloads it to Trent, so Trent can whip it across if anyone's in the box, that is. So yeah, he wasn't really a right wing. He was kind of like a right attacking mid. Like he was obviously into the right, but he was like an attacking mid. Mbappe had this free roam role. He wasn't in a striker. He was kind of everywhere today. Vinny was on the left, but I don't think Vinny had the best of games. I thought he was pretty mid. So yeah, it was a pretty standard formation. Not much else to say here, except that the passing was overkill. It didn't need to be. You didn't need to 80% possession. So what, right? You didn't even score in the first half. Osasuna played to a T. They played perfectly. I did really like I talked about previously, Howson. I really liked how he played today. He is very brave because he took two shots, right? One was a half volley, which Herrera did save, which I thought he could have done better, Herrera. But the second one was like a really bad shot, and it was closer than the half volley. It was like near the edge of the box, and he didn't seem fazed by it. And I think Howson is going to be a huge pivotal role to Real Madrid's success in the future. And I do think he can be a leader as well at one point and one stage in time. We'll go to Osasuna now, and I really enjoyed watching Osasuna more than Real Madrid. I thought they clearly had a good game plan, and that was to walk away with the draw by playing defensively and trying, if they could, to catch Real Madrid off guard, because Real Madrid brought a lot of defenders up into the attack, which we saw with Liverpool against Bournemouth. The way Bournemouth, Semenyo scored his second goal was because Liverpool were completely open in the back because they had committed too many men forward. I think Osasuna were trying to hope that Real Madrid did that, and that they could catch them off guard. And there were moments, I do think in the second half though, there were moments where Osasuna could have attacked a bit more better and a bit more efficiently. I recall is Oroz. He was like through on goal on the left hand side. He was through on goal, and one of the centre backs did not play the ball over the top, which was pretty obvious. Bretones, he had a chance where Trent missed the header, and he was on the edge of the goal. It was a tight angle. He tried to hit it back, but it went to Courtois. So yeah, there were opportunities for Osasuna to try and get something from this game, but they just couldn't capitalize. And yeah, that's, it's I think if you have to blame anyone today, it's Cruz. I think you shouldn't concede that penalty. That's a very stupid decision. But I think everyone knows that at the end of the day. So we get into this formation, and the standout players that I think played superb were Boyoma. Boyoma played excellent, and Rosier. These two right-hand-sided defenders played excellent today. They were really good at marshalling Mbappe and Vinny. I recall Boyoma's tackle on, I think, Mbappe, the sliding tackle or something. That was a very strong tackle. I really enjoyed watching that. I think they played really well today, these two. Obviously, I talked about Cruz. Bretones played solid. And then, obviously, they're your strikers. I think Budimir could have been a bit more enthusiastic, I feel. It's hard when you're playing in a defensive low block as a striker. It's really hard because you want to be scoring goals, you want to be going up, but you have to fulfill your defensive duties. So yeah, it is hard, but there was like moments where Budimir could have got a ball, but he didn't attempt to. Like a ball was played to him, I remember, on the side of a touchline, the left-hand side for Osasuna, and he just didn't commit to it. So yeah, he wasn't on his game in terms of that. I think the midfield were pretty standard. What else can you really say? But I do think the two highlight, the top two players for Osasuna this game was Rosier and Boyomo. They were really good today. You did see, so obviously FootMob have a 3-4-2-1, but it wasn't. It was this 5-3-2. And then occasionally you could have like a Garcia and Oroz and Garcia switch, but Garcia was mainly the second striker to Budimir. And they were playing this low block in the first half, and then it opened up in the second half where you had Boyomo, who was bombing up. He was trying to get into that the front, and there was like some good triangles, or like good connection and short passing here between Boyomo, Rosier, and whichever midfielder was supporting. Bretones was also pushing up. He did, like I said before, he had that chance where Trent missed the header. So he was up there as well. And yeah, it really opened up the game. The Mbappe goal, the Mbappe penalty, really opened up the game. And then it became more of a fun watch compared to the first half, which was completely dismal because Real Madrid just couldn't penetrate the Osasuna defense, and they didn't have the will and the right strategy to do so. I really liked how they're set up here in this low block. Obviously, that is the most intelligent thing to do. And when the game opens up, then you bomb forward. It was interesting to see Boyomo, the centre back, go forward, but maybe that's a game plan. You go into maybe a 4 in the back. You have Moncayola maybe fill in here in the right back while Rosier goes up with Boyomo. Try to create something here. You get into this 4 in the back. But yeah, it was Osasuna definitely could have won something. I remember there was also a header which Gonzalo Garcia cleared, which was supposed to be given a corner for Osasuna, but wasn't. That was also very close. So Osasuna did have chances to score, and I think if they did score, then this would be a Real Madrid flop. This game, Real Madrid would have thrown it, and I do think that a draw would have been the most fairest of results. I don't think Madrid showed anything really to deserve a win, especially when you win on a penalty. Like, it was an Osasuna's mistake, not a Real Madrid's promising play. So yeah, we can also touch on the red card as well, which was given at the end of the game. I think that's pretty much absurd. On the replay, they didn't really show any replays. I mean, the accusation was made that Bretones put an elbow to Gonzalo Garcia, but you didn't in real time. You thought their heads might have clashed, but then he puts an arm up or something. But there wasn't any clear footage of it, and there was no VAR check, so it must have been really conclusive. But I think everyone knows that La Liga refs are like one of the worst refs in the top 5 leagues. La Liga refs are not good. And yeah, that was a very interesting call. And I didn't feel it was right, especially giving it when it was literally the 94th, 95th minute he gave it, right? 94th minute. The game was done. There was no need to give a red card. A yellow card, sure. Not a red card. The ref needs to read the game, right? The game's finished. You don't give a red card for that when it's... And the funny thing is, the ref didn't even look at it. Like, he was looking away. He gave the red card like 10, 15 seconds afterwards. So yeah, that is the complete, like, I don't know what to say. Like, that was not deserved. And that really damaged his game, right? Because now he's a 5.9 because of the red card. But I thought Bretonnes played really well. I thought he was one of the best players as well with Rossi and Boyoma. So yeah, I think the wing backs is a huge positive point for Osasuna. I think they can hopefully develop on the wing backs. Let me just check the ages right now. 24 years old is 24. 29 is a bit on the older side, but if you can develop Bretonnes, I think you can develop it to a really good player. We can also talk about the substitutes as well. I thought Moy Gomez, not Moy Gomez actually, Victor Munoz. He signed from Real Madrid actually, so he used to be in Real Madrid. I remember, yeah. He actually played really well today. He was trying to make runs. You could tell he was trying to like prove a point. Like, you shouldn't have sold me Real Madrid. Like, you sold me to Osasuna. Nah, like, you made a mistake. Like, he was actually making good runs. I don't think a 5.8 is warranted. I think he played really well. I think this kid, Mastantuono. Yeah, I think Mastantuono. He played exceptional. Is that actually his face? Damn, because he looks like Eminem or something on the field. That blonde hair, or like that. Skin paint buzz cut. Anyways, that's a complete tangent. He played really well. You could tell like he was running. He had a lot of aggression. He was very hyper. He was very passionate. With how he was tracking back as well. If he lost a ball, he was, very on it. He was on his game, and he was crashing into the box, which Mbappe should have done, right? Which the front three should have done. Maybe not Vinny and Diaz, but especially Mbappe. Mbappe should have done it. Way more, but yeah, he didn't. And yeah, I thought he was a huge highlight. Carvajal just did his thing, standard. He didn't really do much. But yeah, I think in general, what we can take away from this game is that Real Madrid do need to fix up, whether that be the introduction of Bellingham back after he recovers from his shoulder thing, or some different, more progressive tactics rather than just passing it around, which I think has killed football completely. I think that Pep style of tiki-taka passing, Barcelona is like, but it's Pep, right? Pep instills that with his Manchester City side, which Manchester City are a good team right now. But I think that's killed the way people perceive football. And that's why I think, personally, last season's football was like one of the best years of football we've ever seen, because you don't have that Manchester City in those last final knockout stages in the Champions League. Because I think football before last year has been completely boring for a very long time, because it's the same teams producing, same teams winning. But we had a lot of different storylines last year. Hopefully we have a lot of different storylines this year. Because PSG ended up winning the Champions League last year, so they played a really good style of football. Very positive and progressive, which is something that you expect Real Madrid to do, especially under a new manager in Xabi Alonso, but they didn't today. And I think Osasuna executed their game plan perfectly, but the penalty was just a lapse in judgment, lapse in concentration. They weren't concentrated throughout the 90 minutes, which is hard, right? It's hard to expect a team who's playing in a low block to maintain that consistent low block for the full 90. So yeah, it was bound to happen, but it shouldn't have happened in that manner. It should have happened through a positive Real Madrid play rather than a negative Osasuna, a mistake from Osasuna's point of view, or from Osasuna's side. So yeah, apart from that, Real Madrid had a very standard formation. Diaz was dropping in. It'll be interesting to see if they implement Rodrigo into the system. I know when Garcia got subbed on for Vinicius, it's a very strange thing because Gonzalo Garcia is a striker. Rodrigo is literally a winger, and he's an established winger. Gonzalo Garcia is 18, right? Um, so yeah, I do think Rodrigo's out of this club. I don't think he's going to be. I think he's gonna. It depends where he goes, right? If he goes to Premier League, maybe he goes to. I don't know where he can go. I think Premier League is a good place for him to go. Good place for him to prove himself again. Because I don't think Xabi Alonso is going to include Rodrigo. You could tell in the shots that the broadcasters were giving, where they always pan to Rodrigo whenever some talk about wingers happen, or when Gonzalo Garcia subbed on, they were panning to Rodrigo, they were panning to Endrick. They're just trying to stir something up the media. But yeah, so Real Madrid played pretty standard. I don't think Diaz should be involved. He should be a sub, right? He shouldn't be starting. He didn't play well today. And then yeah. It was very interesting to see how the Boyoma bombed up the field once they conceded that goal. But I really liked the movement of the fullbacks. I think they helped solidify the low block because they pretty much dictated, right? They changed it from a 3 in the back to a 5 in the back. And then occasionally a 6 in the back, to be honest. You have this, and then maybe one of the midfielders come in if the ball comes like to a wide man, right, who's trying to cross. Then it will occasionally go to a 6 in the back, right? And then you have this Garcia drop, and then you have a 6-3-1, or something like this. But yeah, I think Osasuna were just unlucky today. And I do think they're a good team. I think they have a chance in maybe trying to get one of those European spots if they could. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this video today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. And if you guys have any suggestions for this channel, or anything you want me to do football-wise, football-related, whatever it may be, just let me know in the comments. And yeah, leave a like if you guys enjoyed, and subscribe as well while you're at it. That will help me a lot as I navigate through this football world. Yeah, I do like this football lineup builder anyways, but it's good to show the formations and how it works. But yeah, I'd like to talk more about football, so yeah, leave any suggestions you have for me. And take care, guys, and have a good one. Bye-bye.